Dem bones, dem. Dry bones, dem bones, dem. Dry bones, dem. Dry bones. The toe bone's connected to the foot bone's connected to the ankle bone's connected to the shin bone. We all know that, right? Made famous by a whole bunch of people. Louis Armstrong, Bing Crosby. But anyway, that song obviously is based on this reading, and it just sort of brings to light just how weird this vision is. Now, to put it in context, the people of Israel are in exile. They've been brought into exile by Nebuchadnezzar. They're in Babylon. They've been there for a while. Earlier in the book, so this reading is taken from chapter 37. Earlier in the book, the people of Israel are complaining. They're saying, we're like dry bones in a parched land. And so God, in really a kind of an uncharacteristic way, takes the metaphor that the Israelites are using to describe their situation, and the vision that Ezekiel has is the people of Israel are like dry bones in a parched land. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And so God says to Ezekiel in the vision, prophesy to these bones. Prophesy to the bones so that they may live, because they look dead, they look dry, they look parched, but they are not truly. What they are lacking is the presence, the Spirit of God. The people of Israel feel like they are parched, dry bones on a parched land, but what they are lacking in God's words to Ezekiel in the vision is the presence of God, and Ezekiel is commissioned to bring that presence to the people of Israel. So I started thinking, where are we? Where am I in this story? And I'm in a whole bunch of places. So I want to start by talking about what is it that we want to give life to. What is it that we want to give life to? Because that's a crucial question to ask. And it's a crucial question to ask societally, like as a community, but also as individuals. And so I want to start by looking at the question from a community perspective. Now, this week, or last week I guess it was, there was a story that hit the newspapers, and it caused a lot of anxiety and a lot of strife, ended up resulting in the chair of the regional council resigning. Now, I had a conversation with friends this week about that story, and what did I think about someone, anybody. So I'm going to suggest that we forget the political situation here in Niagara for this. Just forget about it. I don't care about. I do care, but right now I don't care about the political fallout. Why would anybody hold on to a copy of that book? Mein Kampf is the book in question, by the way, and be concerned about verifying the signature. And the reason that this question came, the conversation happened, and then, like I said to the kids, I was going through my dad's stamps. And in the stamps, there are stamps from Germany. And in those stamps are images of Hitler during World War II, right? I mean, we put prime ministers on our stamps, and we put the Queen and whatever. Germany, at that time, put Hitler's image on stamps. And I have those stamps. Now, I'm like, why What, not why, but what? What do I do? What do I do with these stamps? Because personally, I don't want them. I don't want them. I don't want to have that in my possession. I don't want that spirit in the Embrace Center, which is where those stamps are right now. So what do I do? What do I do with them? And my first thing was, okay, I'll just throw them away and I won't say anything. But no. I felt the drive to come here this morning and to talk about it because it's it's present in this is present in my life right now. And I could hide it. My dad collected those stamps. Why did my dad collect those stamps? I don't know. And he's not here to ask. Did he even remember he had those stamps? I don't know. But the reality is they're there. And I could leave that, I could slide that over here and never talk about it, throw them away. You would never know that I had them. Or I can keep them. They are part of a historical record. Like those stamps, they tell part of our story. And the risk of throwing them aside is, history erased becomes history repeated. So that's a big question for me. First, do I bring it into the light? Which I think I have to. And second, what do I do after the fact? All right. What are the things, and depending on what I do and how I hold this up or argue against it, will determine how me and people around me proceed from here. There are people who have this kind of paraphernalia for history's sake, and there are people who have it because they believe in it. There's a difference between those two things. And we need to determine where we stand on that, and because, so for a long time, people thought that Nazism was dead, that it was dry bones on a parched land. That's not true anymore. And so what do we do? What do we give life to? There is a community of people who are giving life to that, who are saying, these are the dry bones that we want to give new life to. I am not over there. And so part of my job is to find the dry bones that I do want to give life to, that I do want to hold up, that I do want to see sinew and muscle and flesh given to, that I want to see breath given to, so that those messages, so that those bones become enlivened again in our community. People talk about the church as being dry bones in a parched land. The people who believe in Jesus Christ, who follow the gospel, that we are in exile and we are forlorn. I don't believe that's true either. I believe that maybe there is some truth to the idea that the message is no longer being heard, that somehow it's not being communicated. How do we give new life? How do we breathe new breath? How do we bring these dried bones off of the parched land and bring them into the light? How do we enliven them? That's a question. That's a question for us as a community. It's a question for us as a church, and it is a question for me as an individual. How do I take the gospel that I believe in so firmly and enliven it so that people who envision the church as dry bones on a parched land, the gospel as dry bones on a parched land. How do I give it life that others will see it and feel themselves enlivened with it? That's the question. I have some ideas. Over the next little while, I actually think I've been thinking over the last couple of days, and I think I'm gonna write a little manifesto. And when I've got it done, I'm going to share it with all of you. I'm going to share it with the council. I'm going to share it with you, because I think that one of the things that you have entrusted me and Reverend Cheryl in is to offer leadership to this congregation, and through you to the community. And what does that leadership look like? That leadership looks like having a vision, and then testing the vision with all of you. I know, because you have all told me that the ministry at the Embrace Center is important to all of you. You tell me that every week when 3 big containers of soup and 100 sandwiches show up on a weekly basis. When we have too many volunteers, you can never have too many volunteers, but we have too many volunteers because we're serving, we have people who are serving, we have other volunteers who have to sit down and talk to people. And you do it happily. You smile when you're talking to people whose world is very different from yours. And when you do that, you bring the gospel to life for them. You take these dry bones, people who have no faith, no hope. You take the dry bones and you give them breath, and they live amongst those who hear the word again, and they are given life through it. Okay, so today, I don't know if you heard, but today is the annual general meeting. So the annual general meeting is a great opportunity. It is a gift to us as a church. The annual meeting. By the way, not all churches do this, right? Not all denominations do annual general meetings. Not all denominations feel it as important as we do to hear the voices of those who gather in worship. They go off and they do their thing. You, on this day, have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to reflect upon the year that's been, the last 5 years, the last 10 years. You have an opportunity to think about, where is it that we were? Where is it that we are? And where is it that we want to be? The annual general meeting is an opportunity for us to look at our faith community, to look at the community we serve, to look at everything around us, and to identify the dry bones that we want to enliven. Where are the parched lands? Where are the people who are crying out? Who are crying out because they feel that they are in exile. And exile looks like a whole lot of different things to a whole lot of different people. But people who believe themselves to be in exile, especially in exile from the church. People who don't realize that they can come to church anytime they want. People who call us when there's a baptism coming up and say, "Are we allowed to come?" And you might, when I've told people that and they snicker, but it is true. People don't know that they are allowed to come to church. Why? How have we let that happen? How have we let that happen? This congregation, I will tell you, I love this congregation. For those of you at home watching, I love this congregation. If you're able to get out of the house, come on down, come have fellowship time, because I love this congregation. I say that often, in all kinds of places, because this is a congregation that strives to make it known that you, no matter who you are welcome. That you can indeed come to church. That you can indeed receive the breath of the Spirit in this place if you want it. And so today, as we get ready for the annual meeting, as we reflect upon these words of Ezekiel, Ezekiel's a really strange book, by the way. Read it. Strange, but powerful. That as we sit here, as we prepare for the annual meeting, as we reflect upon the words of Ezekiel, I want you to think about in your life, every day, where are you feeling parched? And where could you use a taste of the living water that if you have it, you will thirst no more? Where can you identify the parched land outside of these walls? And the dry bones who are walking but don't even know it? How can we bring that life-giving water? How can we bring that breath of the Spirit to those parched places that they too will live? And as a congregation, how do we make this place a place that ministers to those very needs on a daily basis today? How do we use those times and those moments of our past to strengthen us today? But how do we take what we are doing today to ensure that we are giving life to the community tomorrow and next year and 5 years and 10 years and 50 years from now? How do we do that? That's the question that is posed to us by Ezekiel. And that's the question that we strive to answer today as we gather for an annual meeting that most times just seems mundane and rote. But take it seriously, because it is how we express the faith that we strive to live. Thanks be to God.